back to the channel. Today is lesson 9 of our Learning to Play Piano series. In this lesson, we don't have a whole lot to go over for the rest of this book. Now, if you are following along in the book, this is the Alfred's Adult All-in-One beginner course on how to learn piano, and I am just going over kind of all the new things they're introducing throughout the book to help you understand them a little bit better as you're going through this book. We learned a lot in the first portion of this book, and at this point there's not a ton new stuff that they're introducing. We're kind of just practicing everything that we've learned now. So in this lesson, I'm going to go over a few things, a few markings, different things you're going to see in your songs that you do need to understand to go through the rest of this book. Now, we have already gone over dynamic markings. We've gone over piano, forte, mezzo forte, all of those, which tell us how loud or soft to play. We have 2 new dynamic markings. These are called crescendo and diminuendo. And what crescendo tells us is to gradually get louder. Sometimes you will have a dynamic mark at the beginning or the end that tells us specifically grow from, for example, piano to mezzo forte, or mezzo forte to forte, or piano to forte. Sometimes it will tell us. If it does not tell you exactly what you're growing to, just know that you're gonna get louder. A diminuendo is the exact opposite, so you are just getting a little bit quieter with every note. Now, these can be written a few different ways. Sometimes you will see them written as the little symbol, which looks like this. Sometimes you will see it written as just the full word, and sometimes you will see just the abbreviated word. Another thing that we've already gone over, but I do want to review, is tempo markings. These are at the beginning of a lot of songs. Not all of them have a tempo marking, but most of them do. And it will either give you a metronome number, which is the number you will set your metronome to if you're going to practice with that for the counting, or it just may tell you a word like slowly or happily or quickly. There's a lot of different things you will see there, but do just note your tempo markings in your songs. The next new little thing is called a fermata, and it looks like this. So when you see this over your note, this tells you to hold that note longer than it's written to be held for. So for example, if I have a whole note with a fermata over it, I'm gonna hold it for at least 5 counts instead of the 4 that a whole note would normally get. But after that, I can actually hold it as long as I want. I could hold it for 100 counts if I wanted to. We have 2 new types of notes that I want to go over, which is 8th notes and dotted quarter notes. So 8th notes are half a count each. So you can see them actually written quite a few different ways, because when you have a bunch of 8th notes in a row, they will usually connect to the bar at the top. If you have one note by itself, this is what it looks like. So like I said, an 8th note just gets half a count. If you're going to count these out, a good way to count them is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on, because since they're half a count, we can't count them like 1, 2, 3, 4, because those are full counts, if that makes sense. If you want a video on more in depth how to count your notes, let me know and I can do that. The other note we also have is a dotted quarter note. So we've already had a dotted half note, which we know gets 3 counts. A dotted quarter note gets 1.5 counts. So again, you're going to count that with your 1 and 2 and counting, because you need to have that half beat in there. Okay, we also have a new time signature in these last few pages of the book. It is the 2/4 time signature. So we've already gone over 4/4 and 3/4. We know that the number on top just tells us how many beats are in every measure. 2/4 time signature just means there's 2 beats in every measure. The 4 on the bottom still tells us that all our note values are the same, so the quarter note's gonna get 1 count, half note gets 2 counts, and so on. The very last thing we're gonna go over in this lesson is our key signature. A key signature just tells us what key we're in. So if we're in the key of C, we don't have any sharps or flats. If I'm in the key of G, I do have F sharp, and what that is going to look like is at the beginning of our song, it's going to show us an F sharp. The reason for that is anytime in this song we have an F, we're gonna play it sharp instead of just that F. So in the last lesson, we went over what sharps tell us to do. With our key signature, it's not going to write a sharp next to that note. We just already know that we're gonna play it sharp unless it tells us otherwise. That is all we're going over for lesson 9. These are basically all the markings you're really gonna see for the rest of this book. There are a few more little ones that you may see in there, but the book does a pretty good job of explaining those and they're not too difficult. So in lesson 10, which will be our next video, I am going to go over some recommendations I have for extra books, extra things you can add into your practicing in addition to moving through the rest of your lesson book.